And then all of a sudden she tells me, somebody's coming over for dinner. It was just the two of us in her Nashville house, and Garth Brooks walks in the door.
From the heart of Hollywood, it's the Patrick Labber Show with Patrick Labberton.
It's the Patrick Labber Show. Patrick Labberton. He's the one you gotta know.
Tonight's episode, Carrie Turner.
Patrick Labber Show. He's the one you gotta know.
Previously on Carrie Turner. Carrie Turner, Texas-born, funny as heck, and a regular face on your TV lineup. She's best known for playing my TV better half, Lieutenant Harriet Sims on JAG. But she didn't stop there. She guest starred on The X-Files, NCIS, and Heroes. She's also a hero in real life by entertaining our troops in the USO. My groundlings buddy and legal TV wife, please welcome Carrie Turner to the Patrick Labber Show with Patrick Labberton. Okay, so what was the story with you and JAG? How'd you get on the show?
I really messed up the entire audition.
Act 1, Beginnings.
I went into audition and I didn't know the lingo, and I was just going and going, and then I didn't realize what I was saying, and then I thought I just messed it up. Like, I'm not going to get the gig. And
okay, so roll it back just a couple of minutes or a couple of days or whatever for you. There was no military shows. There was no NCIS. I don't even think there was any CSI yet. And so when you get the call from your agent, what does your agent say? What are you going up for?
Well, it's a military drama, but it's kind of, your role is a little lighthearted, and and I go in, but it was all of the jargon, military Navy jargon, that I had to audition with. And I'm like, and so the casting person came out. It was Melissa Scoff. And she came out and she said, go get your shit together and come back at 5:00. And I walk in and there's Don Belisario, the director, the 12 people in the room. I'm like, boy, howdy, I better get this right. She really said, go get your shit together. And I guess I did, because I got the gig.
Yeah, you definitely, I can guarantee you got the gig because I was there. So what, do you remember what they had you read? What were you reading?
It was like, do the side boys on the left hand of the pipe.
You still don't know the lingo. Do the side boys.
Here's some side boy on the left of the pike, and you have to attend. Huh? Like, what? Okay, I can do this. But they thought we matched, and we did.
Well, we did. But did you know? Did you know at that point that I was on the show, or that you were going to be my wife, or whatever?
I had no idea. No idea.
When did you find out that I was on the show?
I walked out in the groundlings, and I said, I just auditioned for the show, and it's to be Bud's wife, and I'm like, you're like, I'm Bud. I'm like, what? Because I thought it was for getting me hired. I thought you helped me get hired, and alas, no.
No,
but
no, I would never help you get anything.
How dare you? How
no,
dare
it is. It's one of those. I think now that I hear your side of it, and this is a brand new piece of information for me. Melissa, where did you audition? Were you at Paramount, or did you go out to see me, or did you go out to Valencia?
Paramount.
Okay. Because I remember talking to Melissa Scoff at some point, and she was telling me that they were auditioning girls for your girlfriend and to be wife, the Harriet character.
Yeah.
And she mentioned your name, and I go, oh, Carrie's great. We're groundlings together. We were groundlings together. She like her ears went up. She goes, oh, really? And I go, yeah. But it wasn't like I said, out of these women, only this person could be hired. And right. I want to give you full credit for it because, yeah, you got the role completely on your own merits for sure. Yeah. But I think that when, because look, for those of you who aren't actors, the real deal is that, yeah, there is a chemistry thing that happens. Yeah. And it is weird that they cast the part without us ever reading together.
I know. I thought that was a normal thing, but I guess not. Like,
I
okay.
guess it's kind of. I mean, it is kind of normal in the sense of like they cast guest stars without them reading with the regular cast.
Yeah.
But for a character relationship like ours, where we're married and it's
Yeah.
so, intermeshed,
Yeah.
it's weird.
And considering what you went through on the show and the support that I had to be when you lost your TV leg, I they needed to know that I really like you.
Yeah.
Like, and that we have a history that that we're
So how many? So okay. So how many auditions did you have before you were on a TV show for 10 years?
Oh Lord, 100. I mean, I did sitcoms.
No. I'm saying for the show. How many times did you audition for JAG?
Twice.
Okay, so for me, yeah, I auditioned twice. I auditioned for, I don't know if it was Melissa on the pilot.
Charles
but
Johnson.
I auditioned, what's that?
It might have been Melissa and Charles Johnson.
Right.
That's
because
I did for the first time. And then I walked into the 12 people that were looking at me. And suddenly, you know what? I straightened up a little bit when they laughed. Like if I got a laugh, as you know, that's like everything. That's like heroin. Like you just go, I got a laugh out of these, 12 people in the room,
right.
including Don Belisario, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Cut that part out. But I got a laugh, and then suddenly my energy came back, and I straightened up. I was like, I got a laugh. This is a good sign.
Yeah. Okay, so let me introduce you to everybody. You know her as Lieutenant Sims from JAG, or as Scully's sister-in-law on the X-Files. I know her as my always pregnant TV wife. Please welcome Carrie Turner.
I guess it's good that I'm round because I've been cast in everything as the pregnant one. Yay!
It's so funny. TV is so mean, especially to women, where you are literally a gorgeous person and you say you're round. People, I'm sure, told you that in Hollywood. You are what would they say? Not Zoftic, but you got boobs. You're curvy.
I'm a curvy girl.
You're curvy. You're not a straight girl that weighs 100 pounds.
No.
So,
Nope.
So there you go. And the same thing with me. I was a curvy girl when I was on JAG.
That makes sense.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. How did you get out? Where you're from Texas, right?
Born in Texas, raised in Arkansas.
Okay.
I was raised in Walmart, Bentonville, Arkansas.
But like literally Walmart. Didn't you like hang out with Walmart people, Waltons?
Of course. Like,
oh, this is funny. I never thought of it. I was on Little House on the Prairie and you were on the Waltons.
well, the Waltons, the global giant Walmart. But yeah, I was my best friend was the Waltons' granddaughter. So I spent more time with Sam Walton and his family than I spent with my own family. And it was just kind of great.
Wow.
In Bentonville, Arkansas, where there was only 7,000 people, now it's like 70 billion people because it's Walmart. So everybody has to be there. If you work for Walmart, you have to be there. And now, boom, there it goes.
Were you, as I've heard, a part of the Clinton crime family?
I cannot say, or I would have to kill you.
You know, I'm an Arkansas traveler. I was given the title by Bill Clinton. My brother and I were there for the Special Olympics at Little Rock, and we were made Arkansas travelers, which I don't know if that's a big deal or not a big deal, but they made a big deal out of it. And it was like one of those things. And he was the governor.
Yeah, he was the governor, for a long time. Yeah.
So you're in Arkansas and you're hanging out. I know because I know you. You're hanging out making rope dollies. Your family isn't got a ton of money, but your friends do. How do you get from Arkansas to California? What made you do that?
Since I was a little kid, I was always like a show off, like a show out. I was always the class clown, always being a goofball, and I never wanted to do anything but act. I never wanted anything else. And my mother's like, you should have something to fall back on. And then somebody else told me, if you have something to fall back on, you'll fall back on it. So I was just like, straightforward, I'm going to move to California. And I moved to Orange County, which not the mecca of entertainment. But then, I auditioned for American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I got in, and the rest is history. And then I started doing sitcoms and stuff like that.
Okay, well, we're going to get to all of that. But so why do you choose Orange County, or just you figured?
My parents were there. My godparents were there, and I'm like,
okay.
If I move to California, then I can be a movie star.
Got it. Well, it worked.
Well,
it worked. So you moved to California. You get into the Performing Arts Academy, and that's over in where? Pasadena?
American Academy of Dramatic Arts was in Pasadena, but now it's a whole city block on La Brea, right in the center of Hollywood.
Okay, great. It's just a block and a half from where we're at right now. So yeah, pretty close. So along with the other students there, wasn't there a guy there that was kind of like a sad sack who has had no career since then that you kind of went to school with? Paul something or other. What was his name?
You mean Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. That was his name. I mean, he'll never make it in this town with that name, Rudd.
No, he'll never make it, Les. And it was also Lynn. What's his last name? His first name, last name is Leonard. He played Scooby-Doo.
Matthew. Yeah.
Matthew Lillard.
I didn't know you knew Matt Lillard.
He was with Paul Rudd.
Do you know who got Matt Lillard his SAG card?
No.
Me.
What?
So Matt Lillard was working on Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, the good one.
Which I know Robert Davi is a friend of mine.
Well, Robert Davi was not in this one. No shade against Davi, but this was a different. Anyway, it was Ghoulies 3. It had myself, a number of other. Ryan O'Neal's kid Griffin was in it. Another guy by the name of Jason Scott Lee, who would later become. He starred in the Bruce Lee movie and Rapa Nui and Jungle Book. He had a whole big career. Yeah. And then Matt Lillard was basically an atmosphere guy. But he was doing such a good job, and he was always in the scenes with us, that myself and one of the other guys, I think Billy Morissette was the guy, we went to the producers and said, look, just Taft-Hartley this guy. He's really good, and you're using him all the time. Yeah. And they did. And then at that time, my parents, my dad mainly, had a small talent agency called Star Talent, really kind of like, sharply named. And so I took him to my dad, and my dad signed him. And my dad, not my dad, but Matthew, got a show called Skate TV on MTV. Yeah. And then my dad walked in and had a meeting with Matt and said, look, I got to let you go. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, I'm dropping you because you're just going to be a huge star. And we're too small an agency for that. And so sure enough, and so there you go. So I had no idea that you knew Matt Lillard after all of these years. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he was in our class. He was in our class at American Academy for 2+ years. And he was hilarious. We did Shakespeare once, and there used to be a Mr. Peanut that you could take the lid off, and there were peanuts in there, and he put it in his cod piece. And he came out to Shakespeare with a huge bulge in his pants. And and people started laughing. And the Shakespeare teacher got like, stop. It's his choice. Don't you say that. And but yeah, he's always been funny. And Paul's always been funny. And it was just like.
Well, and you are funny. Like, that's like your whole, like the material that makes up your personality. And for those of you who've watched Jag is a laugh riot. I mean, my God, there's been more laughs on Jag. And our storyline was hysterical. So obviously all your comedic training, but people don't know so much that, the comedy history. So you're at the Academy. Then how did you get to Groundlings, which is where I met you? What was
I just
What was the story there?
I saw a show at the Groundlings, and I'm like, I'd give anything to be able to do that, And you start with the school. You have
Yeah.
to go through beginners, basic, writing, intermediate, till you make the Sunday company, like you did. And I just was, I just auditioned. That was all, And I was in the middle of in a professional theater company at that point. I had already been in the West Coast Ensemble, which was a professional you
Yeah.
people pay to watch you kind of a deal.
Big time acting, dramatic acting, real acting.
Yeah.
None of that stupid comedy stuff.
Well, here's what I said to the universe and God. I said, I am a trained actor. Why am I not doing drama? Whoa, why? And thing 9 years on military drama with you. All of a sudden, careful what you wish for, because I got it. So sitcoms went by the wayside, and I went on to do 9 years with you.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so when I got to Groundlings, I auditioned. Did we audition together? I know we did basic together. Did we audition together? Because you were the first person I met at Groundlings, period.
For real?
Yeah, I was waiting, I think, outside to audition.
Huh.
And I was in the lobby looking at all the pictures, and you were the only other person there. And so I don't know who said hello first, but you were the first person I met there.
Well, lucky
Yeah.
you.
I know. And so, so we can tell this story together. So I have a question because I kind of don't remember this. I know we did basic together. It goes basic, intermediate, intermediate writing lab, advanced, and then Sunday show.
Yeah.
Did I repeat? I repeated one of them, right?
I don't think you did. Kathy Griffin was teaching at the time, an advanced maybe, and
Kathy was my basic.
Okay.
So she was our no. I'm sorry, no. Mindy Sterling, I think, was basic.
My basic was, I just said it, but now I can't remember what I said.
Kathy Griffin?
No, Melanie Graham.
Melanie Graham. Okay.
She was my basic, and then as we climbed up the ladder, Kathy called me because Kathy and I ended up being friends and going to Iraq together. I know, side note, but she said, "Hey, we don't have enough girls in the class. Do you want to take the class for, you just come join the class for free?" I'm like, yeah. And that's where I met Matt Winston.
Okay.
That's where a lot of people. So it's like,
So then maybe that's what was going on, that I was joining in, because I remember I had Mindy as a teacher, I had Karen Mariyama, I had Kathy,
Did you ever
and
Patrick Bristow?
oh yeah, we didn't we? Patrick Bristow as well.
He was writing. That was the writing.
That
class.
was the writing lab. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, we went through the school together basically. And please do me this favor, because I'm pretty impressed with it. List off the people that we went through this school with.
I mean, come on. You got Mike Hitchcock, Mike McDonald, Kathy Griffin, Mindy Sterling. I mean, and the writers. There were so many writers. Patrick Bristow. I mean, it was amazing.
Well, and then right before us in the performing group, right before us was Will Ferrell. It was
Chris
Monkey Boy.
Chris Parnell. There was
Chris Parnell was in our advanced show. We worked with Chris Parnell. Anna Gasteyer, Chris Parnell. Who was the other guy that ended up Last Man on Earth? He was in our show. Boy, we're so old. I can't remember.
I know. It's a geriatric moment.
Charles, we knew him as Chip, but Charles Eston was in our group.
Eston, who went on to be Nashville fame.
I look like such a jerk. I saw him on TikTok and I said, "Hey, are you in Nashville?" And he texts me back "Yeah, I'm kind of like a." He didn't say it like this, but the tone, it was "Yeah, I'm kind of like a big deal."
Yeah, of a TV show called Nashville.
Nashville.
It's called Nashville.
Yeah.
And he was just like a sweetheart. When we know so many writers like Stephen Cragg, I just saw who's
Right.
for SNL and Mad TV. Jen Joyce was a producer on Mad TV.
Right. Mike LaPrete was in our group who wrote for Tonight Show and maybe I think still does.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe, at least when they were here in LA.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, my name is Patrick Laberteau, and I play an actor on TV. And I also have this acting school called Working Actors School. And what we do there is we teach people to act using Zoom. So you can take an acting class with me and with a person in Connecticut, in Florida, and San Diego all at the same time, thanks to the miracle of Zoom. And I'm very excited to announce that we have a brand new class called Adult Weekly Class. Now, what is that? Now, that's a class that'll meet every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and you come in and you have an hour-long acting class with other students. It's very, very simple, very, very fun. So if you've ever wanted to be an actor or try it or just mess around, these classes are great. So the Adult Weekly Class is going to be every Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific. Now, come and check it out. It's going to be really fun. Go to workingactorschool.com. Check out the website. You can sign up for the class there. If you need any other information, there's a phone number and an email on the website. You can get it there. And we would love to have you come and try. Talk to you soon.
Act 2, Success.
Anyway, so we had this great experience at Groundlings, but at that same time, which I want to talk to you about, at the same time, there's this thing that happens I think in Hollywood, where in a career, you kind of get the steam rolling. You go out on auditions, people see you, you get a job, then you get another job. Someone's talking about you, you're at the Groundlings or you're doing a play, and you have like this kind of momentum. And during the 90s, there was this huge momentum for a lot of people and a lot of people in the Groundlings and around the Groundlings, where we were all kind of getting hired for pilots and doing guest stars and doing all of these things. Mm-hmm. And it was at the time of like Friends, and everybody was auditioning for Friends, or everybody was auditioning for shows that were rip-offs of Friends. And you were in the middle of all of that. And I'm kind of interested from a woman's point of view. What was it like for a girl in the 90s in the TV, like soup? What was it like for you?
I mean, I don't understand the whole casting couch thing because, I mean, there was never...
Well, okay, it works like this. The guy says, I'll give you the part if you sleep with me. That's how it works.
That's how it goes?
That's how it goes, yeah.
Okay. No, but that was never even anything that was ever introduced to me. So I just... Right. And I think what was important to me is that no one ever said that you couldn't. Because I think if someone who had said, like, you're not big enough to do that. You're not big enough to try that. You're not big enough to be on that show. Like, no one ever said no, or that, no, I couldn't. And, I'd had a, callback after callback after callback and probably didn't get the job. But it just seemed like a game. Instead of like scary. It wasn't, I mean, obviously you get nervous as all get out. Like you get nervous for an audition, but I wasn't frightened by it, and I think a lot of people get frightened by it. And when I got to give the speech at American Academy for graduation, I said, you're a trained actor. You have a backbone now that you can go, I was trained. I did this because I was trained. You and I were trained at the Groundlings how to deliver comedy, how to deliver that. And I don't think necessarily if you're great at drama that you're great at comedy. I think it's hard to do both.
I think if you're great at comedy, you can be a much better dramatic actor. I think it works the other way, though. I
think you're exactly right. If you can do comedy, drama comes easily because comics, by and large, have a history of some sort of pain. Of some sort of heartache. And then you go, I'm relieving myself with the comedy, but then I can dive right straight in to drama.
Okay, so here's a tough question. What is your pain? What's the thing that makes you so funny?
Oh, I just had a horrible mother.
Oh, okay. That's all.
She was horrible. My father was hilarious, and my mother was awful. She was just a narcissistic sociopath. And I can't wait till she watches this.
Well, we will take care. We'll give her the worst insult possible by not mentioning her name. She'll hate that. So, what were you when you look to comedy and you look to humor as ways to de-escalate situations? Is that where it kind of
My
developed?
father, observationally funny. Like he would see a pasture full of cows and go, "Look at all those dogs dressed up like cows." Like he was just observationally weird.
It
He was
sounds like you, so I get that. I can see what you get from it.
so weird. So yeah, my relief was him, and then when they got a divorce, then I was like left alone, and I'm like, left with her, and I think you didn't have a choice. So I just spent my time at in theater doing whatever, and having my father's sense of humor was
Were you an
such
only
a.
child, or do you have any siblings?
Well, I've got a sister. And she's amazing. She's a teacher for mentally handicapped kids, and she's a saint. She's a saint, and I'm the f up that decided to go to Hollywood.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can say that anymore since you kind of are a success in Hollywood, and you did look. I think anybody that comes out to Hollywood is two things: brave and idiotic all at the same time, because it is not an easy thing to do. And so, going back to this '90s comedy thing that I'm fascinated by, because I ask about it being a woman because the parts in the '90s I thought were pretty good, but they were definitely girlfriend of or friend of, or I mean, you were in Caroline in the City, but that was Caroline. That was
Yeah, and I played basically a hooker that comes in like a stripper. She comes in to take her clothes off, and she finds out she's in the wrong place, and then she goes, "I'm in the wrong place again." Oh, like some ding dong hooker, stripper.
Those are my favorite lines, by the way. Where I'm in the wrong place again. It tells so much about the character.
Oh. And by the way, that was all improv. Like they wrote it that I just said, "I'm in the wrong place again." And then I just went, again. They left it in. And I'm like, awesome. You're
So
rolling.
what were the, go ahead.
No, you're rolling the dice with that, because if you improv and, you're there with all the executives and a studio audience and all of that, and you're like, I'm just going to roll the dice and just do something stupid, silly and stupid. And it worked.
Yeah.
Thank God. I mean, it might not have. And then
Right.
they'd be in trouble.
Well, it's so hard on the to tell an actor or be an actor on the before side of things to know exactly what's going to work. On the after side of things, it's always easy to say just go with your gut, because that's usually the thing that gets it for you.
Yeah.
And as I've learned as a producer, it's so little the actor has so little to do with getting the part, in as much as 95% of it is judged when you walk in the room and they go, "Oh, she's perfect," by
Yeah.
checking out everything as far as like, "Oh, is this what kind of character we want?" And
Yeah.
so when you're doing these roles, and let's leapfrog, what's your lily pad in that era? When was you did a TV show called Wild Oats?
With Paul Rudd.
No, really?
Paul Rudd
So you
was in.
guys were in school, and then you guys worked together in Wild Oats. What was that about? What's that story?
No, he was cast until I was cast, and we did a table read, and there he is. I'm like, Paul? What? And then I became, another Europe. I was a European whore in that one.
What does she sound like?
It's Tanya Kibasi. She talk like this. Hey, I like it. I like to have the sex. It's fun. I know. I just made it up. I made it up, and it was just weird. There was Wild Oats. Then there was like Caroline in the City. Then I jumped to X-Files for a couple of episodes. And then I jumped back into Suddenly Susan. and gads, there were so many of the just.
So with
little
Suddenly Susan, wasn't that
Kathy Griffin.
Wasn't Kathy on there? Yeah. So
Yep.
Kathy, who was a big part of both of our lives, because she was. I remember laying on a bed, and this was not a casting couch situation, but it was really weird. Kathy Griffin was teaching one. I think it was maybe intermediate, whatever class we were in together, and
Yeah.
they have to tell you whether or not you're going to go on to the next class. And so instead of having the last class at the Groundlings Theater, she decided to have it at Julia Sweeney's house.
That's how I got my
There's-
SAG card. It was Julia Sweeney, and it's Pat.
What's that? It's Pat as your SAG card.
Yeah, I got my Taft-Hartley, my SAG card through It's Pat, because Julia was a groundling, and her husband,
Right.
who played the Gimp in Pulp Fiction, or well, yeah, Pulp.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how.
Steve,
they-
what's his last name? Steve.
I don't.
Yeah, and she and Julia had a brother named Mike, right? Mike Sweeney, who is
Bless.
also he's since passed, but he was a crazy fun guy.
He was fun.
But yeah, so she took us to Julia's house because it had a pool to go to do the last class and to find out if we were going to be moved up. And so she was having the conferences in Julia's master bedroom. And so it's like she goes, okay, lay down. And so I'm laying down and we're laying down on the bed. And she's like, okay, well, you're moving on. There was nothing weird about it except that, yeah, we're just in a bedroom and she's telling you while you're just sort of looking up at, up at the ceiling because it was so hot. But so you do it's Suddenly Susan with Kathy, and then Kathy has Welcome My Life on the D list. You're listed in some of those episodes, but was it really a part, or was it just you were hanging out with Kathy and they were filming?
Just hanging out. It was me, Mike Hitchcock, Mike McDonald. It was just a handful of people that Kathy liked, and we were all just being idiots together, and in her house. And it was
Right.
not scripted at all. And there was no method to the madness. It was just like, let's hang
No,
out.
Kathy
and be idiots.
is like that. Yeah, if you ever saw that show, Kathy's like that. And there was also around this period of time because Karen, Steve, Kathy, and another one of the Groundlings at that time were all in Pulp Fiction. And I think
All in.
was
all-
Quentin coming to the shows and hanging out, or do you know what that was all about?
That he did, that he was a big fan of like the comedic and the Groundlings, and I never met him, but I think he was a big fan of the comics, and so was Melissa Scoff, who cast us. She's a big Groundlings fan. Like she cast some of the funniest people in really serious roles.
Oh,
on
well, all
Jack.
three of us, our entire like little group with the guy who played my dad,
Jeff McKay.
Jeff McKay was I loved Magnum PI, and he was one of my favorite characters. And in fact, when I got the job on JAG, in my head, I said, oh, this is the Jeff McKay character because Don Belisario wrote it. And then Jeff ends up being the guy that plays my dad, who is
Your dad.
such an amazingly sweet man and funny.
Just-
But like going back to like all three of us were kind of like these comics that were hired for this devastating storylines.
You're right. I mean, do you remember the whole? My favorite is I got to play Phyllis Diller because I had come back from Afghanistan for a USO tour, and I said, "Please, somebody write the USO. Please write the USO series or like episode."
Yeah.
And Jeff played Gary Colonna. I played Phyllis Diller. It was like that to me, and I even think I have a picture of it over here somewhere. But it was just the best. And Jeff McKay is a huge part of my heart. Like he and I just got along like a house on fire, and he was just a funny, like soft-hearted, nice guy. That
He, like I said, it was my favorite episode of Magnum is the episode where he dies. Not that I'm excited about that, but it was this great episode called There's this great episode called "Did You See the Sunrise?" Magnum's buddy Mac, John loves that name, Mac,
Yeah.
gets blown up, and Magnum shoots a guy, and it's because of Jeff McKay. And apparently Jeff went to Don, who had just killed him off, and he went back to him the next season. He says, "Don, I need a job. What? You killed me off. You got to bring me back." He goes, "Mac, I can't bring you back, Jeff. We blew you up." He goes, "I don't know. Bring me back as this evil twin or something." And they did. They brought him back as this guy that looked just like his other character. And I mean, that's how much Don loved him. And then he put him into JAG. Now, okay, so you met a couple of your life big friends through JAG. There was another, what's her name, singer-songwriter. It was like she was also acting at the time. Trisha
Yearwood?
Trisha Yearwood, that's it. You guys met on the show, and she was like this big rock and roll country star.
No, we met way before that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought we all met her on the show. Okay.
No, I knew her very well and had, been to they hosted me for my birthday for the last 20 years. I knew.
Where did you guys meet? I thought it was on the show.
No, she came into town and I was dating Roger Miller's son at the time.
Okay.
And or we had finished dating, but he still liked me. And we still hung out. And
so I'll just translate that. You had finished dating him. He still thought you guys were dating.
Oh, I think he knew. But
Okay.
he was, and I was here. And he said, "Hey, we're coming into town with this new singer named Trisha Yearwood." And I'm like, "Cool." And so I'm like, "You guys can load up in my old gross Honda that had no muffler or any brakes. And you can just jump in." And so she's literally sitting on the gear shift. Like she's sitting in the middle. And we go to eat pizza. And we just were friends. We were like almost instantly friends. She's a Southern girl. She's a Georgia girl. And I'm a Southern girl. So it was like everything we said made sense because it was like,
Right.
"Oh, I get you. You get me. That's awesome. Let's be friends." And that was way before Garth Brooks. That was way before.
Well, yeah,
That's
even before, so at some point, Ken Cragen was your manager?
I loved him.
Yeah, he decided, because he's like Kenny Rogers, a bunch of, I think Dolly Parton, like he knows how to make a career. And so he said, "Oh, you know what we should do is we should have you on JAG." And they wrote a part for Trisha on JAG. And again, I didn't know her. I thought this was new to you, but it's really good we're doing this. We've only had 25 years to talk about this stuff. So I meet her and she's really sweet, but I'm so out of the country world that it's like, oh, country singer, good for her, not having any idea, and then I think it was that year she had the big, huge hit. But that was long before Garth, and then her and Garth got together and then it became a thing. And then it was
hanging out, just yippity yapping. And all of a sudden she tells me, "Somebody's coming over for dinner." It was just the two of us in her Nashville house, and Garth Brooks walks in the door, and I thought I was going to lose my mind because I'm like, "You didn't tell me it was Garth Brooks," because he was so famous at the time, and so I'm like, he's like, "Here, would you?" He made me dinner. Here's a fork. What? Garth Brooks just handed me a fork. What?
Now, all I picture is Garth Brooks walking in that blue shirt and that hat. But from Roping the Wind, I just picture that's how he's cooking dinner in the kitchen.
More like sweatpants and a baseball cap. But nonetheless, I was like,
So what's your default? Do you go straight to humor, start making jokes, or how do you deal with it?
I was like kind of gobsmacked because I was such a huge fan of his. And I'm sure he could tell because he's intuitive. He could tell if someone's nervous or something. And it was like, and eventually, because I ended up helping them build her set for her country kitchen show, and then helped them build their house in Nashville that was their new house in Nashville. So I lived in Nashville with them. I lived in a double wide trailer.
Okay, just stop showing off. Now you just not a single wide, but a double wide. You were living large in Arkansas.
But I lived with them for I don't know how many months so I could help them build their house in Nashville.
Where is that sitcom? That's the perfect sitcom. Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, and Harriet Sims living in a double wide in Nashville. What the hell?
You're the writer in this family.
That's true.
Write it. Okay,
so you get on JAG. I am on the show. My whole story was I was in the pilot, then I wasn't in the show, and then the second season they bring me onto the show, and then they bring you on as my girlfriend. And Don comes down and goes, "Listen up here, kids. We're gonna have her pregnant every single season. She's gonna be popping out babies every year. It's gonna be hysterical." And that's what they pretty much did.
Oh, I did not know that part. Okay.
You didn't know that?
Perpetually pregnant, but okay.
Well, you were.
I was.
Yeah.
You know what? It's hilarious. But it's funny because you don't have to think a single minute about what you have to eat. Because you're like, the fatter you get, the more, pregnant you're going to look. So hip, hip, hooray, McDonald's.
What was your experience when we did that first season? Because I called JAG just another $1,000 because every time you're forced to call, you have to be paid a penalty, which was about $1,000. And everybody on a TV show, it's like, you ever notice that when everybody gets a tumor, it's the size of a grapefruit? There's never, it was a small, no, it's the size of a grape. Everyone always talks about TV shows like, we worked 18-hour days. But we kind of did. It was kind of like that for that first year. What was it like for you?
It was like, I said it was an average of 16, and my longest day was 22 hours. And
Whoa.
Because and like drive home, and then your turnaround time is 2 hours later. But you had to put your head down. You had to have some sort of sleep. And it was grueling, but it was so fun. Like, I had just a blast on that show. A lot of the times it was with the props guys, and we would hide things in scenes that nobody knew. Like,
okay, spill the beans. Like what? You got to tell us. Like what?
In the law library, we hid a little Pooh, a little Mr. Hanky the Pooh with a Santa hat, and we just put it in between the books. And then you have to go back and you have to know where it is in order to see where's the poop. Where's the Mr. Poop with the Santa hat? And it was just like, and we would laugh and laugh. People were like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, well, you'll see. You'll see when you find him with the Santa hat on it. You'll see.
Who was your favorite cast member besides me? Because I'm going to take... Because obviously, but who is your favorite? And we're saying favorite. We're not saying other people are bad.
No, favorite. It's a toss up between two. It's
okay, hold on. Let me see if I can play this game. Let me see. Okay, I have just written down who I think your answer will be. And if I want you to be honest.
What if it's a toss-up?
Well, that's part of the game. It'll be fun.
Oh, gosh.
It's not, no, it's more of gosh on me because you have.
It's three people that I love.
Okay.
Three people. Okay. I love John Jackson with all my heart. John Jackson is a Texan. And I love him.
Yeah.
And Catherine was such a doll to me. She was always really sweet. She's like, come into my trailer, let's hang out. She was very inviting. And then Chuck Carrington.
P.O. Tyner. Poe Tyner.
Tyner. He and I still do Christmas cards. And it's like, he was just sweet and good. And we laughed. And I think it was, the people that made me laugh were the people, And JJ was just, I mean, he is an amazing actor
Yeah.
and a curmudgeon, but a lovely curmudgeon.
Legendary curmudgeon.
If he loved you, he loved you. If he didn't, he didn't.
Right.
It's the way it is. And I had, those would be my top three because it's just like, oh.
I think those are all real good choices. I think I loved about Catherine was, and it really, people say, you know, when you're next to someone like Catherine for 10 years, and my job was to stand 2 feet behind her, I literally would look at the back of her neck. I wouldn't even see her face. I'd be looking at the back of her neck going, yeah, she's really pretty.
She's so pretty.
She's so pretty. And then you look over at David, and you look up at David, and you go, oh, he's so pretty.
We're both really pretty people.
They're so pretty. And so
I've stayed in touch with his wife. I've stayed in touch with all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a joy to go to work because you knew you were going to be there with people that you really liked.
What was your favorite episode that you did?
That again is toss up. Gratification goes, it was when Terrence O'Hara was directing and you had lost your TV leg and you're in the TV hospital and you're laying there and you get a medal and I get to give you that medal.
Does it hurt? Phantom pain?
What?
Are you frightened?
Worried?
About?
Everything. Just, I'm worried if I'll ever feel normal again. Worried if I can provide for us. Worried about military career, if it's gonna end. You gotta be thinking about these things also.
I'm thinking we'll find a way. Where's your medal, Lieutenant?
It's in the drawer.
You should wear this.
And both of us we got called into the principal's office, Don Bellisario's office, but we were like, shit, what do we do? And he's like, that was amazing. You guys were amazing. I don't know if you remember that.
I've blacked that out completely. I have no memory of that. I love this story. Tell me more. Real, because I don't want to say anything bad about Don because I don't have a bad thing to say about Don. But Don was not really effusive. Don was always about, let's do the next thing. So I'm amazed that this even happened. That's amazing.
He called us into the office and we had to sit down and it was like, shit, what would he do? And he said, I just have to tell you that was just lovely and really great acting. And I was like, oh, thank you. It was like everything to me. Because it was like you're getting a pat on the back for doing something. And Terrence O'Hara was amazing, and he was super supportive. And did I say the right name for the? Yeah, it wasn't. I can't remember. I hope I said the right name. But
for the director, Terrence directed us in a ton of stuff. Jeannot also directed a bunch of our stuff. Jeannot Zvark. But yeah, I mean, Terrence O'Hara, we just lost him. He directed a ton of NCISs, a ton of JAGs, amazing director. We had a lot of the great directors from the 1970s where they weren't finishing out their careers on JAG, but they were kind of like the cream of the crop because Don had so many hits that he was able to pull the best TV directors over to JAG. So we had all these great directors.
Terrence. Yeah. Oh.
So
we've lost a couple.
That was one of your favorite moments. What was one of your least favorite moments doing a TV show like this? Don't have to name names if it's a person, but what was like your least the memory you value least, I guess?
Not that I value least, but it scares me. Is we were investigating a child, a dead kid. And there were these photos that fall on the floor, and I'm supposed to just...
That's right. Because you're pregnant at the time, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
Pregnant, and here are these pictures on the floor of these dead children. And I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I'm like, if you harm a pet or a child, to me, there's a special place in hell for you.
Absolutely.
So I was like, and I think I forgot who was trying to get me to freak out more. And it was so internalized.
Probably Singer, the character, didn't want you to do well. Singer had a thing out for Harriet.
Yeah. Well, I slapped her in one episode. And, as it turns out, I've been to their house for lunch. She and I are...
But you still slap her, which is the best part.
Slap her every time I see her.
Slap her every time you see her. Hey, Nancy.
No, all ended well with that. But yeah, that was hard. Like to see, pictures of what are supposed to be dead children on the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, but you know what I did love is when I got to give birth on the floor of the Admiral's office.
Why do you love that? I mean, I'm all for it, but what's the story?
Because it was Alan Levy, and he was like, I want to see this while you're doing it. And I did that for about 12 hours. And I have never been that sore. Like these muscles, you don't do that very often. You don't go like that very often. You hope you don't. But when you do, you're like, ow, the next day. And, I was supposed to be sweating. So they're putting misty stuff all over my face and screaming and pain. I loved that because it was so weird and something I hadn't done. And I was just like, this is awesome. No wonder I'm an actor because I love this weird shit.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, my name is Patrick Laborteau, and I play an actor on TV. And I also have this acting school called Working Actors School. And what we do there is we teach people to act using Zoom. So you can take an acting class with me and with a person in Connecticut, in Florida, and San Diego all at the same time, thanks to the miracle of Zoom. But we also teach kids. We have a great class called the Youth Weekly class that's every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And it's for kids. It's for like 10 to 17. And we have a great group of kids right now. And it is ongoing. So if you know someone that wants to get into acting and has never done any acting but would love to try, why don't you have them try starting off with Youth Weekly? Just go to workingactorsschool.com and check us out. It's Youth Weekly every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Act 3, present day.
What is the deal? What's the story behind South Park?
Well, there's two different versions of it, but
tell the funny one.
Matt and Trey came to the Groundlings, and they saw me and Andy. Speaking of Andy Houts, God rest his soul, we're doing this thing called Country Carrots, where there's a carrot that just comes down out of the ceiling. He's right here, by the way. Country Carrot's always here. Let me get him.
I remember this. It was the worst sketch.
Country Carrot. And he talked like this.
Country Carrot.
He talked just like this. And Matt and Trey were in the audience, and they wanted to see me because they were doing this new show called South Park. I'm like, okay. And I did all the female voices for the first 2 seasons, and I'm not comfortable with the whole GD or JC. Like, I don't use God's name in vain. So that was kind of a requirement. So after I did the first 2, and they're like, no, just say this. I'll say a lot of bad words, but, Lord's name in vain is not my deal. So I don't say it. And I think that's what got me fired. Because you know what? I didn't want to say it, so I didn't, And the country carrot still exists. What are you doing? And it was like, it was just gibberish. The whole scene was just a country carrot going,
Well, a lot of that was a lot of the humor. Your humor back then was hysterical because it was like what you were talking about with your dad. It was farcical. It was ridiculous. It was funny. All of it was funny, but like, it's like with some of the best comedy, you can't really describe what, like Country Carrot, why that was a funny scene. If you saw it, you'd laugh. I swear, I saw it. It was funny. But it's not like it's not a premise sketch.
No, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. A carrot comes down from the thing, and then Andy and I would also like gibberish. And it was like weird. And weird is my favorite word, because if you're not weird, I don't like you very much.
We were talking about that the other day. I think that you in order to get out here, you got to be weird. I came from a different place. I was born and raised here. I was grown here in a lab to be in entertainment. I mean, check this out for real. I'm adopted, but my biological parents were both people that came out to Hollywood to be in the movies, which they failed at. My mom ended up being in a porno film, but but 1960s porn. So, classy, shot on film.
Classy.
And then I was adopted by an actress. So I really didn't have a choice in the matter. But people that come out here do, and you did. Yeah. And then when you're out here, there's this great documentary I saw years ago called Rhino High, The Life of an Actor, which is all about how much punishment you have to take as an actor. So you have to be weird to get through it.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand, unless it's nepotism, and then you get in by, but yeah, just to yank up your skirt and run to Hollywood. It's like, what? And I still find it remarkable to this day that I had the courage to do that. It's because no one said no. It was an idiot state of mind that gets you here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm going to act. And no one says no. And so you just go, okay, I'm going to act. And I did. I think it's just the naivete of, I can do anything. And I did.
Yeah, but I believe it's also that belief which I actually believe in Hollywood, because there's always going to be someone that talks bad about Hollywood. And there's always going to be bad stuff that happens in Hollywood, just like everywhere else in the world.
Sure.
But the one great thing about Hollywood, or the idea of Hollywood, is, you can come out here and create something and do something that you have a dream of doing, and it can actually happen. You can do the same thing with buying a lottery ticket, but it's still, it's creative, and it's, a different type of experience. Okay. So when we finished up with JAG, you ended up actually becoming, I believe it was a Marine, or was it the USO? One of the two. Were you a Marine, or did you travel with the USO?
I traveled with the USO, and I did 18 tours to Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, South Korea, Djibouti, Africa. And I just kept doing it over and over, because my soldiers, they're my kids. They appreciate that. They appreciate it because they know the show, they know JAG.
Right.
And so the military stuff, and they'll, poke you and give you a little crap about, you didn't have the right thing on here in your uniform. And I'm like, I know. But
Well, I want to
it's
jump in just to say that if for people who don't know, there are a lot of people that say, "Oh yeah, I love the troops," and they support the troops, and they'll do a show, and it's like, "Yeah, I went down to Camp Pendleton on my way to San Diego, and I did a show." You were in
Yeah.
active war zones, not like once, but like all the time during the Gulf War.
Like, during the current Afghanistan, Iraqi situation, and certainly, I mean, I've slept in Saddam's palaces several times, and had to run into a bunker several times when you can hear incoming and the sirens go off. But by the time even the soldiers will tell you, by the time you hear the siren, it's too late. So, but I'm booking it off the stage. I'm emceeing a show and I'm just running into a bunker.
Whoa.
That happened so many times. We stayed in a place in Balad called Mortaritaville. And it was about mortars. And and the siren goes off and you're like, well, I can either sit still or I can run into a bunker. And it just depends on your, many times I did a show at Abu Ghraib with the soldiers at Abu Ghraib, and there was a sniper outside. And of course, we didn't know it until they took him out. And at any moment, but that is by purpose. Like an actor, yes, but someone who supports the troops is the most important thing. And don't make me cry.
Well, sweetheart, I mean, it's your fault for being such a good person. I mean, seriously, I've always been impressed by that. I've always been, because it doesn't come from, remember all of those free publicity you got from it? Remember all those People magazine covers? No, it wasn't a publicity thing for you. You were seriously doing it for the troops.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of people, because I never went, I never did go. I had a young son, and I didn't want to put myself in that position. That's the choice I made, but admired your choice completely. And when I sometimes run into people who were active duty, they talk about seeing you and how much it meant to them, that that you would come that far to entertain them.
I would do anything for them.
Yeah.
Anything. Fundraising, whatever it takes. They're underpaid and underappreciated. And if you can go for 1 second and make them forget that they're at war and make them laugh with improv, with whatever. I've been over with Al Franken, who made them laugh. Al Franken was just amazing over there.
You all right, honey?
I mean, it could be yeah. I'm good. It's just hits my heart. There could just be a handful of people, and you just go up and Al Franken was like, hey, let's do our sketch for the 3 people that didn't get to see the show, because a lot of times they don't get to see the show because they're on watch, they're on this, they have this and this to do, and we would do it anyway. And as long as you're on the ground over there, you're theirs. Yeah. Like you sit up, you talk. Yeah, we did improv shows in Saddam's palace just for a group of people that happened to be on duty.
Which out of one, you can absolutely say, you guys were the funniest thing that ever happened in Saddam's palace.
I will forever have that. Yes, I will forever have that. So
that's a tough room.
And we taught some of the kids how to do improv. I say kids. I know they're soldiers, but they're my kids. So it's like, we taught them how to, how yes and say yes and. Okay, who are you? I'm a waiter. Yes and. And we would teach them. It was me and Tim Bagley and Mike Hitchcock, and it was just It's so gratifying. It's like the best thing in the whole wide world. And you come back high as a kite because you can't, like, your heart's full. Your heart gets full because they're so grateful.
Yeah.
They're like, thank you so much. I'm like, you're sacrificing your life for our country. And what are you saying thank you for me to me? Because that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for a couple of weeks, but you're here for months or years. And deployments are like forever. And you're leaving your families for, to protect me, to protect you.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
I have great respect and amazing experiences, I'm sure. But I was doing research and I found this, and I have to verify this because I thought I knew you, Carrie. I thought I did.
Uh-oh.
According to bio.org, which sounds really, really important, bio.org, you've been married since the 90s and have 2 daughters. Have you been hiding something from me?
Where did I get this crap?
It's in your IMDb, according to bio.org. You've been married since the 90s, have 2 daughters, and you are super private. Now, let's clear the you are married, but you just got married, right?
I got married, and I'm 57. I got married when I was 56.
Thank God, because once you cross that 57, man, you're just too old.
Done. I have never been pregnant, ever. Not even accidental, like, oopsie. Never.
Well, you gave all of your eggs to Jag. That's where all your pregnancies went.
Oh, my Lord. Who can verify that stupid site? Because it's like, no and no. And frankly, I'm really proud of the fact that I've not been married until now because I waited for the right guy.
That's true. I got to see a couple of the guys, and you did have to wait through some guys.
I'm like, no, I've never been married. No, where they get that? Where did they get that?
I don't know. They make it up. But I do have to say that I am proud to be, when Carrie decided that she was going to marry Michael, I get a call asking for my blessing. Because I'm legally her TV husband, and in Hollywood you legally have to get your TV husband's okay to get a real life husband. and is the picture of us being married still hanging in your closet?
Yes, of course.
Our wedding photo is hanging in Carrie's closet behind clothing and sacred other items.
No, it's not proudly displayed. It is proudly displayed. If I had more wall space, it'd be a more prestigious place than the closet. But yeah, you've been my only husband before I actually got married. So
who's better? Who's a better husband?
Oh gosh, don't make me pick. It's like Sophie's Choice.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, my name is Patrick Laberto, and I play an actor on TV. And I also have this acting school called Working Actors School. And what we do there is we teach people to act using Zoom. So you can take an acting class with me and with a person in Connecticut, in Florida, and San Diego all at the same time, thanks to the miracle of Zoom. Now, besides classes, I also offer a one-on-one session. It's an hour just between you and me working on a particular piece of material, whether it's for an upcoming audition or maybe you're working on something and you need to have that breakthrough moment. These are really, really fun, and they're really, really great because they're really personalized and intense in all the good ways that intense can be. So if you're working on something, if you want to break through, if you want to have a one-on-one session where you're not working with other people, this is the way to do it. All the information is in the classes page on workingactorsschool.com.
Act 4. Questions.
So this one is That's Showbiz. What's the most Hollywood moment in your life?
Whoa. Okay, see, this is a weird one, but when I was doing Caroline in the City. I came out because I was all like la-di-da, and I was supposed to be this stripper that went to the wrong place. And when I came out, they started kind of going, "Ooh," the audience, studio audience. And Leah Thompson points at the audience and goes, "She's really smart." And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Because I'm playing an idiot that goes to the wrong place as a stripper. Right. And she's just like, she's really smart. Like hanging out with Gary Sinise doing USO stuff is awesome. John Voight is awesome. Like those are some moments when you just go, okay. But yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that one. Okay, so it's That's Showbiz Part 2. What's the most embarrassing Hollywood moment?
Oh. Embarrassing. I guess. Oh, I got shot on the deck of the Midway? No. I got shot on a ship, and I had to have fake blood. So I had fake blood.
Wait. Okay, we've been talking about USO and live Warzone. So you got shot for real or shot in a movie?
I got shot on JAG on the deck of that ship.
Okay. So you weren't really shot.
Yeah. Not really shot. And so I'm playing a military Navy nurse back in the day. So it was a flashback to, and I get, I think it was shrapnel. I think it wasn't a shot. And I fall down, and David James Elliott's right there, like taking care of me. And they have fake blood that they put here. And it ran down. I had to be on a plane to get to Iraq. I had to be on a plane, and I had blood in places, fake blood in places that you wouldn't want it. And I had to get in the van they were hauling ass to get me there so I could be on time for the trip to Afghanistan or Iraq, one of them. And it's like, I got blood in my cranny. There's blood in my cranny. And I just can't do a thing about it. And I'm taking a wig off and blood in my cranny. And it was like, hurry, drive. And he got in the fast lane and just hauled ass, and I made it. And I made it.
That's a good answer.
But it was like,
I love it.
I mean, this episode should be called Blood in Your Cranny.
I believe it was Blood in Your Cranny Parts 1 and 2, nominated for an Emmy.
Fake blood in your cranny.
Blood in your cranny. Oh. It rings off you should talk to Trisha. I think there's a song there. Show Me the Money. Biggest missed financial opportunity. In Hollywood, people always have opportunities. Sometimes it's where you think you're going to get a part, or you turn something down, or where you just go, oh, that would have been amazing.
Oh, gosh. I had to make a choice between, I was doing Caroline in the City as a recurring, and JAG came around, and I had to make a choice. And it really made the casting person angry because I chose JAG.
Well, that's the best financial opportunity. You chose perfectly.
I didn't know how to play the game. I just knew what I wanted to do. And it was like, and then I had to send him flowers because he was mad at me. But yeah, that was like, that was not a missed opportunity. I mean, I've never turned anything down, really. I mean, things that I don't agree with sometimes, but
all right.
I don't know.
Show and tell. As a teenager, favorite poster in your room, and how did you come to obtain it?
My favorite poster in the whole wide world was a poster of Mae West. And it was a full-length poster, almost life-size poster of Mae West. And because I was infatuated with her. And I actually have her silverware that I got at auction. I got her silverware. It has MW on
I
everything.
wonder what that stands for.
And it's I don't know. But I also had Linda Blair in my locker at school. I had Linda Blair.
What version of Linda Blair? Sarah,
What
Teenage
is wrong
Portrait
with
of an
me?
Alcoholic, or Exorcist, or Rollerblader, or
And then I got to do a show with her, some weird show that I did with Snoop Dogg and Linda Blair and John, what's his face from, Eric Idle. It was the weirdest TV, it was like a game show. And I got to do that with her. And my favorite movie of hers called Sweet Hostage.
I love that
she did
movie where
with
she
Martin.
wants a particular type of material to send a message that she's been taken.
Yes. And that's how it goes. But that's my favorite movie of hers. And I fell in love with her then. So I just had a picture of her. I had the Fonz. Come on. I had the Fonz in my
Okay. Hey. Have you ever met Henry?
I have. And what a doll baby. What a sweethearted man that is. Like crazy great. I have a picture of him up here somewhere.
Okay, it's the Patrick Labber Show, so show me some love.
What was your favorite performance of mine and Jag?
I think when you lost your TV leg, that it was hard. It was a really hard thing for you to attack and to have to kind of get back into action with your wife who now you're missing a leg and now you are like a little traumatized obviously, but you have to be present when you try to get back to being a husband and you're laying in bed and you're, obviously in pain and you're trying to let's get back because you're still my wife and let's do that. And I think your acting was extraordinary in that.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Epilogue. All right. Well, you got any plugs? You got anything you want to add to this? Because you did a fantastic job.
No, I'm painting a lot, and maybe there'll be a show one day with my paintings.
What is the deal with your paintings? What's the story there?
Just it's about lost things that are lost.
Okay.
When you throw your stuff in the washer and throw your stuff in the dryer, and eventually there's a lost sock, and the sock gets lost, and that lost sock I painted that turned into lost love, lost memory, lost time. And it's just the lost series. There's only 25 paintings I've done. They're not very big. They're about
if someone who had a podcast asked you in the podcast, what is lost in your life, what would your answer be?
My dog. It's clear. Maggie the first thing came to my head is my sweet girl, Maggie May Pea Pants. Maggie May Pea Pants, my yellow lab. That's a loss I can't quite get over yet. And it's been years. And I still have her pictures up and I still think about her and I miss her every day.
Well, with that hysterical ending, I'm going to say thank you to my TV wife, who's amazing, and to her loving, amazing husband, Michael, for helping us technically, and just for being, look, as every TV husband knows, you want the real husband to at least be worthy of the person that you got to play husband to. And I think that you and Michael are really well suited for each other. And I just love the fact that you guys are together. So I'm a big fan.
Yay.
Well, thank you, Carrie Turner.
Yay.
We will talk soon. And thanks for joining us. And, thank you for being on the Patrick Labber Show.
I love you.
Sweetie. Okay. Bye.
End credits.
Okay. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Okay. Now, first of all, you did a great job. You're so talented.
Okay, you happy with it?
So happy.
You
Oh
were
yeah,
happy with
so
it?
happy.
Okay.
The one thing that I've been really fighting for with people is we got to wait until, oh, wait, you know what? Let me stop recording, but don't go anywhere.
It's the Patrick Labber Show. Patrick Labberto. He's the one you gotta know.
Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. I'm really, really glad you're here and checking out the podcast. It is an audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It's a video podcast over on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you get the video ones. All of my socials are Working Actors School on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Please check us out. If you want any information about the school, it is at workingactorsschool.com. We've got classes going on all the time. And again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.